morning, everyone. So this other day, I had someone told me that a majority of the reason why a lot of people are so successful in life is because of luck, fate, or they were just handed something. Maybe they had rich parents, or maybe the circumstances were just right, and all of these things. But they didn't talk about anything related to the hard work that people did, the sacrifices that people had to make, the long hours of working, the big amount of stress that they have to go through in order to be successful. And that got me thinking, right? We always say that, of course, you have to have a certain amount of luck in your life to be successful. Yes, luck plays a factor, but we can't keep pushing away this accountability, this responsibility to luck itself, because it's not gonna work, right? If you want to be successful, let me put two individuals out here. Maybe you have individual A and B. Okay, individual A and B both have the same genes, the same body composition, everything is the same. And they wanted to build a body, a good physique. Okay, and individual A, he didn't do anything. He didn't put the hard work that was necessary, or maybe he just did, some workout, sometime when he felt like it, and nothing else. He only did. He mainly pushed away the responsibility onto that he did not have great genes, and he complained that if he had better genes, he would have a way better physique than what he has right now. Meanwhile, individual B, who has the same genes and the same body composition as individual A, worked out regardless of whether his genes were good, worked out regardless of whether he was tired or not. He was very disciplined. He followed a strict diet. And fast forward, let's say 1 or 2 years, you can see the difference between individual A and B. Individual B got in a way better shape compared to individual A, while having the same body composition between both of them and the same genes, and no one has an advantage over the other except the mindset between these two individuals. And so whenever you want to do something in life, if your dream, if your goal is to one day be able to climb Mount Everest, or if your goal is one day to be able to earn a lot of money, or maybe your goal is to just get a girlfriend and live a peaceful life together with your wife and your children, your family, till the end of your days, then work for it. Don't blame it on the circumstances, how successful or how people achieve their success because of luck. Don't think of any of that. Just work as hard as you can. I'm not saying that the harder you work, the luckier you get. Of course, sometimes some circumstances, due to some circumstances, that's not always the case. But if you really put the work that is required, if you really worked hard, okay, if you really did what was necessary, sooner or later, you will be way further ahead than if you were to just live it up to success. Live it up to luck, or live it up to fate. You would be way better off if you just did the work required, okay, and you try your best, and you will succeed. Eventually, I'm not saying 100%, but you will eventually succeed. Maybe you won't be 100% at where you want or you imagine to be at, but you would be 50% there, or 60 or 70% there. So that's why I say, and I think that it's extremely important that people actually try and don't think about what if this, what if that. There is no what if. You just do the work that is necessary, you do the work that is required, you try your best, and in the end you will be way ahead of your goals. I mean, or maybe you would, even if you don't achieve, as I said earlier, you would be maybe 60% to your goal, compared to if you don't try at all and you blame it all onto success. I mean, onto fate or onto luck. Compared to, let's say, individual A and B, you know, maybe individual B didn't have great genes and he didn't have a great body composition, and you know, after working out for 2 years, he didn't have, you know, the physique that people with good genes would have, but he is still in better shape compared to individual A, where they both have the same starting point and the same circumstances, but individual B will be way better off the individual A in terms of their physique. So that's why I think it's extremely important that you don't take away your accountability, that you always be responsible for what you should be and what is required, and do the work that is necessary. And I think that's how, you know, how a lot of people made it in life, how a lot of people, just regardless of the circumstances, they just worked and worked and worked, and eventually they, you know, they're somewhere closer to their goal, their dreams. That's why I think it's very important today that I want to talk about, you know, accountability and responsibility, and you know, just doing the work required and not thinking too much. Sometimes some people think too much, and you know, a lot of times, me included, and I am guilty of it as well. When I wanted to try something, when I want to do something, I always think. Of course, it's good to think before doing something, but sometimes I think too much. No, I just think too much. I just think of, what if this happened? What if that happened? You know, what if I'm not good enough? You know, what if no matter what I do, there nothing changes? You know, well, they say nothing changes if nothing changes, right? If you only sit there and thought the whole time, you know, I want to be a good physique, you know, but what if it's not for me? What if, you know, my diet is wrong? What if I get injured along the way when I'm trying to build my physique? You know, what if I get sick, this and that? You know, if you think too much and you don't do anything, then nothing changes, and in the end, nothing will change for you. So you just have to do what is required. You do the hard work, okay, and then sooner or later you will see the results. And if you don't see the results immediately, then continue on more. You know, just be who you want to be. You know, work as hard as you can. Okay, be a morally and ethically righteous person. Be a good person. You know, help others, take care of others, love others, and help people in general. And try to strive towards your goal and your future, and you'll be alright. You know, you'll be alright. You do alright. Don't think too much. Okay? If you hate that job you are in right now, then try your best, you know, work harder. Not as in the sense of working harder at that job. Work harder on yourself. Upskill yourself. Learn more. Learn how to code. You know, learn how to speak. Learn how to communicate. Learn how to go through interviews. And change your career path or trajectory. And you know, eventually you'll be able and capable enough to quit the job that you're currently in, and you'll be alright. You'll be doing fine, and everything will be okay. That's why you just have to try. I'm not saying trying will definitely put you out there, you'll be good and you'll be successful. No, but it gives you a better chance of eventually reaching where you would want to reach. That's all for today, and I hope, okay, everyone out there who is trying to achieve their dreams, put in the work required, be responsible, take accountability, and do the work that is required, and just take care of yourself.